Safety around horses is a big topic for any rider, whether you've been riding for years or you just got started, or whether you're on the ground with a horse or you're in the saddle. Horses are big animals and they can hurt us even accidentally. So I'm Callie, this is CRK Training's weekly video show, and for this week's video, I wanted to focus on the idea that awareness keeps us safe more than a specific set of rules. So if you've worked with different instructors or if you've been to different barns, you may have noticed that there's some very general safety rules for being around horses, and there's sometimes also ones that are specific to a person or to a barn. So general rules are: we don't sit on the ground next to a horse, we don't crawl under their belly, we don't duck under their head as they're in the cross ties, and we don't walk behind them without paying attention. There's some specific rules. Some barns want you to always lead a horse a certain way, or they have certain ways or certain places that you tie a horse to groom them or to tack them up. But there's something else that is going to keep us safe more than just following rules. And I know this from my own personal experience and also from watching others that have some kind of an accident with horses or that that get hurt. It's usually a lack of awareness. It's a lack of paying attention. It's often not by just missing a rule, but instead it's just not being aware of where the horse is in their kind of emotional state. So for people that have been around horses a long time, we can often feel like we get kind of a gut instinct for how a horse is feeling. We might see a horse and immediately be able to say, he doesn't look quite right. He looks like he's about to spook at something, or that rider needs to be careful because that horse is really not liking the one next to him. But for those of you that may be more new to horses, it's harder to pick up on this. And it's understandable because a lot of what develops our gut instinct is experience in a number of different situations. So when we feel kind of a gut feeling, part of that is our brain kind of going back into its database of experience and being able to pick up on things at a subconscious level and extremely quickly, and then giving us a feeling as to what that meaning is. But even as a new rider or a new horse person, you can start to develop this for yourself. And if you're someone that's experienced and that kind of has this database of different experiences, you can also develop more awareness so that you're going to be safer again, whether you're on the ground or you're in the saddle. So there's one thing with horses that I find is the most important to pay attention to. There's lots of little signs that are often taught that give us some indicator of what the horse might be feeling. For example, the ears. I'm often teaching a lesson and the horse's ears go back, and the rider asks, what does that mean? I've heard that when the horse turns his ears back, it means that he's angry or he's upset about something. But just the ears moving back don't necessarily have that meaning. It's usually these different movements, these different tells or body language of the horse that we're taught, combined with the idea of the overall tension of the horse. So let me explain this a little bit more. The horse's emotion, or kind of the horse's general tension in his body, is controlled on a simple level by the automatic nervous system, or the autonomic nervous system. And there's two main kind of branches to this. There's the parasympathetic, and then over here there's the sympathetic. And we can think of this as kind of a spectrum. So the more that a horse goes towards the parasympathetic state, the more they're in a mode of resting and of calm. This is where the horse is if he's just out in the field, moseying along, grazing, and digesting his food. The sympathetic state is at its max, it's fight or flight. So it's where adrenaline kicks in. It's where the whole system starts to speed up. And again, this is a continuum, and the nervous system is always kind of toggling back and forth. But the more that a horse goes into a sympathetic state, the more we're going to have likelihood to have a spook, to have a horse that maybe does some kind of a disruptive behavior, like he jumps around playing, or he does an exuberant buck or a rear. And the most important thing to kind of recognize as the horse changes along the spectrum is the amount of tension in the body. So as they go towards sympathetic, the system is speeding up. Heart rate increases, breathing increases, and muscle tension is also going to start to increase. As they go into the parasympathetic, those things slow down. So if we go back to that early example of the horse that has his ear back, if the ear is just swiveling back without any tension, then the horse is probably just paying attention to his surroundings, and it means nothing more than giving us a little indicator of where the horse is most interested in taking in sound, or where his attention is. But if the ear goes back with a lot of tension, if the ear is being pulled back flat against the horse's head, then we have a horse that we know is very upset about something. Maybe he's just angry at the neighboring horse that walked a little bit too close, or maybe he's really uncomfortable from the saddle and we need to fix something before we have an escalated behavior. So the most important thing I find to pay attention to is this idea of tension. The more that a horse's tension in their body is increasing, the more that they're starting to go into this sympathetic state, and the more that we need to respond by, one, making sure that we're aware of it so that we're careful. When a horse is in this state, that's not a good time to be just walking behind them not paying attention, or to be sitting on their back and talking to a friend with a loopy rein. The more that a horse goes into this state, then we can be closer to the horse. We can maybe walk behind them with the hands safely on their rump because they're calm and they're attentive. So understanding this idea of tension and starting to recognize this is going to keep you safe more than anything else. It's going to build this awareness of what's going on with the horse so that you can respond appropriately, so that you can prepare yourself, so that maybe if you're a new rider, it even means that sometimes you have to remove yourself from the situation and you have to give the horse to someone that is more experienced for a moment so that you can watch what's happening. But places on the horse that you can look for these signs of tension would be, one, around the face. So if the horse has a soft, relaxed eye and there's not a lot of tension around the face, that's a good read that he's probably in a more calm state. If his nostrils are calm and he's just breathing slowly and deeply. But if the horse's eye is pulled wide open from the muscles around that area, or if his nostrils are flaring, if his ears are tight and alert, either facing forward or being pulled back, and then also the amount of tension in the body. So is he standing very erect with all four legs tight, and he looks like he's ready to just move off at a moment's notice? Or is he standing calmly with a hind leg cocked, just looking relaxed and looking like he's enjoying himself? So when you can start to notice these subtle signs of the horse's tension, then you'll have a much better feeling of what's going on with that horse emotionally. Is he calm, or is he more uptight? Is he getting fearful? Is he getting upset about something? And you can respond to it appropriately. So I would love to hear your comments if you have any questions about this, or if you would like to share your own experiences in times that you noticed what was going on with a particular horse, and then how did you respond? So go ahead and scroll down, leave a comment below, and if you're watching this anywhere besides crktrainingblog.com, that's always where the best conversation is.